why is it that we see all these massive structures in Mexico and South? Why are there none of these in the northern parts?
That is a good question. Well,
pyramids.
Yeah.
Here.
So
Here.
this is something I've thought about, and I don't know that there is a perfect answer for it.
Why don't you see any pyramids in California? Why don't you see any pyramids on the way? And then all of a sudden they sprout up in, where's the first?
Probably the most northern is going to be about right here at a place called Teotihuacan. There are. Yeah, so you've been there. Okay, yeah. So that's probably your first notable. Pyramids. There may be some pyramids north of that, but that's like that's your northernmost stone pyramid. But that said, about right here in Ohio, if I'm pointing at Ohio, nobody really knows where Ohio is.
Yeah. I know what you're going to point out here.
Yeah, but you've got like the Adena mounds and stuff that come from 500 BC, but they're all made out of earth, right? It's just, and so yeah, so much here you have earth and timber, not as much bedrock. So you don't have as much stone to work with.
They just didn't have access to stone. That's why we don't see it.
Well,
there's plenty of stone on the West Coast.
And that's true. And like in the Appalachian Mountains, man, you've got so much granite and limestone that's poking out, but they're not using it. Not most of the time. There actually is somewhere in the Mississippian world, there is one stone pyramid that I've seen. It might be in Ohio itself. Here in the Southwest, you have lots of stone, and they're building like pueblos and, huge cities and stuff like that, cliff dwellings, so they're making stuff out of stone, but not pyramids. But in California, you had California, Oregon, Washington, you had some of the highest densities of Native Americans in North America, and they didn't build anything like that.
Why?
I have no idea.
Well, this is something we need to understand.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that people in your position have asked these questions tons of times.
Sure.
It's like, why all of a sudden does this modern technology, and modern for the time, right? Like pop up in these regions and kind of only in those regions?
I'll give you an idea why I think.
Why?
So when you're in the Maya world, the jungle is straight up hell.
Give me the Mayan Empire, more or less.
So the Maya world is going to be the Yucatan Peninsula, about right through here, like that southern
Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras,
El Salvador. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's right. So the jungle out there sucks. Like, just walking through it is hell. And it floods all the time. There are, definitely the America's most venomous snakes live in the highest concentrations right here. Of anywhere you're going to find them in America, it's the fer-de-lance snakes. And you've got eyelash vipers, all kinds of other stuff. And so there's a lot that exists on the forest floor that can kill you and your children, especially like kids, just like that. And it floods all the time.
So to incentivize you to build structures.
Yeah. So what they want to do is they want to build platforms. And so you want to get up off of the forest floor, and then other people are going to want that. So you make the platform bigger, and then it becomes bigger, and then it becomes bigger. But you do it out of earth, but the earth erodes. So then you got to do it with something stronger. You got to do it with stone. So you're trying just to survive in this hellish jungle environment, and they have a lot of stone bedrock, which is why, like in the Amazon, it's all clay. So they don't have anything there. And well, when you get halfway through the Amazon, you got more granite bedrock that's out here, but a lot of here it's just clay swamps.
Right.
And so in the Maya world, that is where we see the first stone pyramids pop up. There's one in a place called Coelho, Belize. I was just in Belize maybe a month ago or so, and it's just a little pyramid, like maybe the size of this room, and that dates beyond 1000 BC, and then it kind of spreads out from there into the Petén jungle in Guatemala. There's a site there called El Mirador and Nakbe, and those sites go back to so that's Coelho. That's a little bitty site that most people don't know about. If you look up El Mirador pyramid, so these pyramids are absolutely massive. The biggest, I think,
is this the newest one that they just discovered, and they say it's like the biggest, the largest amount of rock?
So that one, that's El Mirador. So get this, that's just the little tiny top section of the pyramid. The rest of it is covered up by the jungle.
Oh, wow.
And get this, the bottom level, so that's El Mirador, the one that's looming over everything.
Yep.
So that's roughly how big it is versus the pyramids in Egypt.
Holy shit.
Now this graphic is extremely controversial because it really depends on how large, how you measure the pyramids, because pyramids in Egypt are straight up pyramids. It's a pyramid, right? But pyramids in Mesoamerica, it starts as a pyramid here. And so like that photo that you saw is this top level of the pyramid. But then it comes down and there's another flat level here with 2 more pyramids on it. And it comes down another way. And then it comes down a little bit.
So they're height maxing in a way.
They're height maxing. And so there's this...
If they have a vantage point where they're standing, they're a little taller.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And there's this huge platform at the bottom. And so that pyramid at El Mirador is so large that you climb up it and you're like, wow, that's a really, really big pyramid. And you just keep on going up and up and up. And then when I came down it, I came down the pyramid, I reached the bottom and I walked for like 5 or 10 minutes or so. And then I hit another ramp going down. And I had still been on the pyramid that entire time. There's a big old flat courtyard. And so the bottom of the pyramids of El Mirador actually span the entire central part of the city. So when you get down, when you get down the pyramid, the actual base of that pyramid
is the entire city.
Extends out far into the jungle, and then people were living on that bottom pyramidal platform, right?
And so, this pyramidal platform is with rock that they placed there, or it's existing bedrock that they built?
No, it's rock that they brought in, all of it. And at El Mirador specifically, El Mirador is one of the oldest sites in the Maya world, and just like you see in so many other places, the farther you go back in time, the more sophisticated the architecture becomes. The stones, like most of the Maya world is just rubble that's about this big, and it's packed in with this really sophisticated, like superheated cement that they use to like bind the structure together. And they have these really nice, like stone framing on the outside to make all the stones look square. This is in later periods. But in the earliest times, 3,000 years ago, at the site of El Mirador, in the middle of the jungle, the most inaccessible place you could possibly be, and they're so protected, right? Because no one's traveling far out into the jungle, so they're able to build up the city without being, invaded by raiders and marauders and stuff like that. So they quarry out these stones that are 8 feet long, couple feet wide, couple feet tall, and they stack them not like Lincoln logs, but they stack them in vertically. So, or I'm sorry, horizontally laying down. So they're like slid into the structure, right? So it makes the structure impenetrable. Like most Maya pyramids, when they're left in ruins, a tree will grow, like its roots will grow into the pyramid and pull the blocks apart. Well, at that site, the jungle grows on top of the pyramid, but if you pull a tree down, it actually just pulls the jungle off of the stones like a carpet laying on top of it, because the stones are so big and packed together that the foliage cannot possibly penetrate.
I don't know if this is the same thing, but when I've seen a few different pyramids in Mexico. When I went to the ones near Mexico City, what is that site called?
Well, the big one is Teotihuacan.
The Teotihuacan, which is the one where you can go for the solstice, and it looks like the fire is coming out of the serpent's mouth at the bottom.
Chichen Itza.
Chichen Itza. Okay, so I saw both of those. Teotihuacan is the bigger one, where it's just not just one pyramid. There's a huge one, but there's all these other little pyramids. It's a whole city.
That's right.
And the pyramids look functional, whereas like when you go to Egypt, the pyramids, they kind of look like something to marvel at, but you don't even know what the utility is.
Exactly.
This felt like, hey, shit goes down here. We got some shops.
They're
this
living
is where
on
we
it.
hang
They're
out.
using it.
Yeah, we're playing ball over here. Like it actually felt like a proper city.
It's public architecture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And what was interesting, and this is kind of, I imagine what you're speaking to, I'm not exactly sure, but they had showed like images of what it looked like before, and they just looked like hills because the ground had kind of like consumed it and grown up over it. And it really kind of makes you look at every hill in Mesoamerica, and you're like, what the fuck is underneath that shit? Like, how much of the things that we're seeing as different types of elevation are actually maybe some small pyramids, maybe a big thing? I mean, this was a massive. See if you can get, is it Chichen Itza or Teotihuacan?
Either one.
See if you can get Teotihuacan before it was excavated.
Yeah, that's right. There's a painting. Well, there's an old black and white photo.
Yeah, and that's what I saw.
There's a famous painting of it too.
Yes, this is what I saw.
Yeah, so it's just a massive hill.
Yeah, it's a mountain, bro.
So like, and when you're looking at it, there are mountains in the distance, right? And like I'm sure every tour guys give you a different thing. And they were like, they were making these mountains to honor the mountains they saw there. I don't know if this is something they're just feeding me, but I'm looking at every other mountain around. Like, let's do some digging.